Hi, everybody. It looks like I'm alone. I promise I'm not. And I will bring my colleague and our dear friend Cire here in one moment. I do want to remind everybody at home to like and subscribe. If you're new to the show, I promise you'll like most of what we do, if not all of it. And also, of course, as we like to remind everybody, we're not actually a cult. Cire, yes, let's welcome him. We're doing things a little differently today. We'll talk about some reasons why. There he is. There's Cire.
Hello. I
Yeah,
am here in Hobby Collab North Studio. We have
yeah,
lights now behind
yeah.
me.
Look at that. It's like a real. It's like a real thing.
It's like we're in a submarine.
Oh yeah, it is like a submarine.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't know how to do this because it's different from what we're used to. Actually, no. So we will always, of course, be doing hobby streams here live with multiple people, including Cire. We live near each other, obviously, or we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing. But we don't live super near each other. So imagine any kind of your metropolitan areas, and one of us is on the south part of it, and then the other one's on the north part of it. This we are excited about because it kind of helps us do more things in a way. So you'll often see Cire do hobbying from here, and it often also depends on what it is we're working on, of course. So Cire, nice to have you as a remote partner here.
Yeah, thank you. Exciting day today. We're doing some. Listen, I tricked you. We're not actually doing Age of Sigmar versus Warhammer Fantasy
Not at all.
because the units you have are in Warhammer Age of Sigmar as well.
That's
So
correct.
doesn't really count. Um, but if you want to think about it as Warhammer Fantasy versus AOS, you can think about it like that. But
Yeah.
you're going to be painting up some. Is that a gyro bomb or just the helicopter?
This is the copter. It is tiny. It's a tiny little guy. Um, the copter is funny because the bomber actually is like a little bit longer. It has like a body
Yeah,
that like with a bomb rack,
a bomb bay.
a bomb bay. The copter rules wise is really what we want for our city's army.
Right.
We don't care about the ability to drop like D3 mortal wounds on things we move across. We really just the army just needs something fast, frankly.
Yeah.
Brett is playing our Cities of Sigmar army, and he will be playing it actually this Saturday against Cire and
Yeah.
his KO army. And Brett is going to be in need of something that can move around and score points. Currently, we really don't have anything like that in the Cities army, so this is meant to kind of make that up. I'm super reluctant to. I've been reluctant to paint this for Cities because I think that this whole dispossessed thing is. I'm guessing in the next year we're gonna get the news that the whole thing is going to Legends. So I've been reluctant to paint dwarves for the army, but here we are.
Yeah, it's either they're going away forever or they're getting a full range refresh, and it's going to be a whole super integrated thing.
Yeah,
One of
which I
those
want to
is a
talk
lot.
about. Which I want to talk about. Yeah,
Okay, one of those is a lot easier to do, and that's just put them in Legends.
yeah.
Um, you're talking about the not doing the bomber. The whole thing with the bomber is that it flies over and drops bombs, right?
Well, this guy does too, actually. So
Oh, okay.
both of them drop bombs on a two. It's the D3 two up that many mortal thing.
Yeah.
The bomber, what it can do is it can just drop all of its bombs. And then it loses the ability to do that for the rest of the game, but it does something crazy like for 4D3 mortal wounds or something like
Oh,
that.
wow. That's quite
So
good.
it can absolutely kind of like wreck one target one time. But it has the gun is actually really what we're excited about. This is 5 shots, 4, 3, -1 D3 damage. And
What?
yeah, it's like a pretty good gun. And yeah, 5 shots, I think it's 4, 3, it might be 3, 3. And the bomber is the same gun but only 3 shots.
Interesting.
So in pretty much every way imaginable, I think, and this guy's actually cheaper points wise. Oh,
Yeah.
and look, oh, look. I get to use an old Tau drone ball joint.
Oh.
Yeah.
Looks like amateur hour over there. I've
Yeah.
got these sweet
Yeah.
uh, Magnet Baron bases. Look
Yes.
how
I'm
tall this
actually.
is.
I know.
Look at that.
So,
I've got
shows because you. Yeah.
two
You're
different
actually
size,
painting up two. You're actually painting
two
up
gunboats.
two gun haulers, right? Two of these. This is the smallest KO one, right?
Yeah, this is the small one. Yeah, maybe we should actually talk about what I'm going to be painting today, huh?
Yeah. Here, I'll go to here.
All right. So I've got two boats here, and I've got one. We Martha Stewarted it. I've got one already finished, or not finished,
Oh,
but further along. So what we're going to be doing today with this clean boat is we're going to be adding some uh, sand deposits to this. So if you haven't seen the KO army that we're painting up on, I'm sorry, that we've played one game with it so far. It is a desert themed KO. So I'm going to be taking this one. I'm going to be cleaning a lot of this dust off, but we're going to be adding the dust to this one. And then by the end of the stream, we should have at least the hull of the metallic boat thing finished on at least one. So that's what we're going to do today.
yeah. I'm really excited with how your KO have been coming out. They look super cool, and so to be honest with you, I'm kind of glad we're getting to see this weathering happen here.
Yeah. We also have this.
Yeah, because we only really showed your KO getting painted on stream once before. It was kind of when you were figuring things out. But now that you've got the process down, I'm excited to have people see this.
Cool. All right, I'm going to start with some enamels. So we're going to start with dust and dirt deposit. This is AK. We're also going to use some AK sand filter. I think this is light brown. Yeah, light brown for desert yellow. We're going to use a mix of these just because it's more interesting to have a little bit of dark, a little bit of light. Off screen to the right, I've got some mineral spirits to thin stuff down. But I'm going to start with the deposits first. What are you working on, Zach? You want to show us?
Yeah, I'm doing a city's base. I've done a million of these. I've bragged before that it's nice I actually don't write the recipe down because it's literally AK sells these boxes that are like warm flesh, flesh at nighttime. Flesh. And one of them they do is just rock and stone effects. And I just literally use that for the cobblestone. We gotta get this. Yeah, I'll have to get that Tenebrous Gray. So it's I prime it black, then I airbrush it Tenebrous Gray, which means I'm forcing AK through an airbrush. The way I do that, because God, AK is awful and not ever designed for an airbrush. Sorry, it's not awful. It's good paint, but it is not good with an airbrush.
Yeah.
So the way I do that typically is I buy 2 bottles. Actually, we love Tenebrous Gray, Meg and I. We use it a lot. So we buy multiple bottles. And I'm always kind of like turning one of them into an airbrush paint, basically.
Right. Also, I just realized we forgot to thank Soups for the 5 gifted memberships. Thanks, Soups, as always.
Yeah,
appreciate it. All right, so I'm doing a pretty heavy coats of this, especially on the flat surfaces, because we've got this like nice grill section. That's a good spot to get a lot of sand deposits.
That is like way heavier than I thought.
So I figured these. So I am doing these heavier than the other boats. My thinking was these are probably closer to the ground. They're probably actually landing, unlike the other ones.
Okay.
So these are going to be a little bit dirtier. All right. Yeah, the bigger boats, the frigate and the ironclad, I only did like pin washing essentially.
Oh, okay.
So that's why those look a lot lighter. All right. Getting this nice and heavy. You know, it's weird that they switched from helicopters to boats.
Well, yeah. We have a lot of dwarf chat that we're excited about today.
Yeah.
and
the main topic of the show, actually.
Yeah, it's not our first dwarf episode for sure. And as Cire has mentioned, we want to chat the cities dwarves and the KO. Now, I do have a poll up, and that poll is related to dwarves. Well, I'm so bad at figuring out where the things are. Okay, related to dwarves. All right, there's the base in a nutshell, but I do need to add some litter to it, which is like our scatter. And I haven't glued this guy yet. I'm a little nervous about that, but yeah. So my poll is pretty straightforward. I asked what subfaction do you want to see return to Age of Sigmar next? Is it Dispossessed, which is pretty much what I'm painting right now? Is it Umbraneth, which are like dark elves? Or is it Chaos? Is it Chaos Dwarves?
It's Chaos Dwarves.
With 24 votes in, Chaos Dwarves are the clear favored.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
What's your vote?
What do you think?
Chaos Dwarves.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I was talking about wanting to start Chaos Dwarves, regardless of this poll.
Yeah.
I think it's also the most likely to occur of these three. I mean, Umbraneth are definitely going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
But I think of the things that are going to happen soon, the soonest is going to be Chaos Dwarves. They've been hinting at it so heavily.
Can we talk about Umbraneth happening soon? Can we talk about the Umbraneth for a little bit? I'm gonna ruffle some feathers here.
Oh my god! So this is a dwarf stream. You want to talk about elves?
Yeah, I do want to talk about elves. So first, what I want to say is, I actually am in the. I don't care about Umbraneth. And I know that I'm going to make a lot of people mad. People are like, my dark elves. Steven is one of them. Steven doesn't watch the show, so it doesn't really matter. He's never going to see this. But I have to say that I have, well, you know what? We should let the poll, let's talk about this when we come back and talk about the poll. When we close the poll and look at the answers, we'll talk about it. Because
all right, Zach,
we have another segment we need to get to, like, immediately.
Zach is out here to make enemies, apparently.
Yeah,
you play Dark Elves!
That's kind of why, man. That's going to be a major point of mine. It's like, my first comment to people who are like, I want my Umbraneth. I'm like, you don't like girls or what? What's the deal? Because there's a whole Dark Elf army that already exists in the game. Why do we need it? Why would we get a second one? Like, hey, here's a second Lizard Man army. Are you kidding me? No, like, come on. Like, it's not even a different alliance. It's nothing. It's like,
well, it might be. Well, okay, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be.
No. Okay. Let's come back to this because I have a lot. Yeah, thank you, Ty. Jesus. Okay, Ty is like the voice of reason around here sometimes, I swear. Ty and me, of course. All right.
Yes.
Yeah. So here we go. What we want to talk about today is different dwarves, and we did want to say cities dwarves, aka dispossessed. Which, by the way, if I was voting in this poll, that's what I would vote for. I do want to see Chaos Dwarves as well. I don't actually care the order. I kind of maybe Chaos Dwarves first.
Yeah.
But I would love to see these guys get a glow up and just mountain dwarves, right? Just like we do have standard elves in the form of Lumineth, right? Give them like that little.
Yeah, ish.
Ish, right? That's what I want with dwarves. I want ish. I want dwarves in like walkers. I want them in like a Triarch Stalker type thing. I want them in like helicopters. I want them in like.
Oh, so you want Chaos Dwarves? They have walkers, and
yeah, maybe. Yeah, they're gonna have to figure these two out, I guess. But this possesses my vote. Okay, what we wanted to do is talk about who does it better.
Yeah.
Beardy dispossessed dwarves or KO. And the way we figured we would do this is pretty straightforward. We're going to come up with a couple scenarios. We have the scenarios already. So we're going to drop some scenarios on you guys. And we're going to say what type of dwarf would do this better. Okay?
Uh-huh.
Cire, you ready?
I'm ready. Also, chat. Get involved.
Yes. Get involved. Get involved. Yes, of course. Okay, here we go. Number 1.
Okay.
A race around the world. Now, to clarify, we mean like a sporting athletic race, not that they become the dominant race throughout the world. And I want to clarify that. I want to clarify that because that is the thing dwarves would try to do.
I think they tried that in Warhammer Fantasy. They definitely are like they're definitely racist against elves.
They're racist against everyone, and they would, if possible, be the race around the world. But we want to know a race, a sporting race, if you
will. Like around the world in 80 days kind of
around the world in 80 days kind of thing. Not like
genocide.
Genocide kind of thing. Just to clarify.
Just to clarify. Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Now, look, right out of the gate, both races, both types of dwarves, not one race, both types of dwarf have the means to do this effectively.
Yes. All right, so I think, do you have thoughts? I was going to let you go first.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if we want to be really boring about it, we could just look at movement rates of existing vehicles. But I think that there's a high likelihood that we're not seeing everything the dispossessed have. And again, like I said, if a new dispossessed faction came out, they would probably have a whole new host of things that could help transport them.
All right, I'm just going to point something. Sir Stromingfish, he says dispossessed because they could dig through the earth.
Yeah.
Is that faster than just going around? I feel like digging, you run into some problems.
You run into mole people, for sure.
Yeah, first of all, mole people, Skaven, cave-ins.
Yeah.
Probably Umberneth, Chaos Dwarves are probably down there too. I feel like you have less problems.
Yeah. Also worth pointing out that, the Mortal Realms isn't really a world. It's like these floating areas. But that's okay.
That's what I was going to say. I would say I might give it to the Dispossessed because they might have some... We said around the world. There's no around in in a Mortal Realm. Mortal Realm is flat as far as I know.
Right.
So the KO just wouldn't know what they're doing. They'd get lost. So I'm going to give it to Dispossessed. They might have some lasting knowledge.
Yeah. And Dispossessed are probably flat earthers. Yeah. Which would come in handy here for once.
Okay.
You say Dispossessed are more likely to.
Yeah, maybe it's like a turtle and the hare, or a tortoise and the hare kind of thing, where like theoretically the KO would probably be faster, but like they would get distracted and bored and go try and sell shit instead of just finishing the race.
Okay. All right. So that's the first one. Second one, who does it better?
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Soup's also sorry. We're gonna step back. Soup's saying, "How are you not giving it to the faction that already lives in the sky?"
Yeah. I mean that's
a good point. Never mind. I'm going with KO.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't have a hardcore theory here one way or the other, but if my guess would be KO. I mean, also unfortunately for Dispossessed, worth pointing out that KO are like this organized conglomerate of dwarves, of dwarven society, and Dispossessed are like living in the scraps of humanity.
Of humanity, wow.
Yeah.
How embarrassing.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, second one, crafting the ultimate weapon.
Okay. Okay, this is an interesting one. I feel like looking at the weapons that they have present, I don't actually know of any crazy weapons that the KO have, but I feel like their technological ceiling is much higher.
Much higher, yeah. Again, like we said, the Dispossessed are, they're dispossessed. have been robbed not only of their homeland and everything, but even their culture and their history and everything. So,
and they're about to get robbed of the rules when they get put in Legends.
yeah, they're about to be really dispossessed.
Okay, I will say this.
Yeah.
So Gul Maraz, we're going to Warhammer Fantasy, right? Gul Maraz is the Warhammer, as in
soon to be available.
Yes. So, and I'm pretty sure it's a dwarven invention that was given to humans. So,
yeah,
they literally made Warhammer. So,
yeah, that's the dispossessed. But what about the KO? Do you think the KO are not capable of building an ultimate weapon?
Like, I haven't read every single Caradron Overlord's book.
Have you read any of them? Let's back up a second. Have you read any Caradron?
I've read one where they show up.
Okay.
And they're kind of exactly what you think they would be, in that they're kind of exploitative buttheads.
Yeah.
They're like collecting like magma droth crap to use for something. Which I guess maybe they're making a nuke or something. I don't know.
Okay. Well, wait, really? In the book?
I don't know if they're making a nuke. I think they're just using it to sell it.
Okay.
They're the reason some people turn to chaos, or partially.
Wait, the KO?
Well, so it's like the story is these like, they're not Dark Oath. This is before Dark Oath were a thing, but essentially Dark Oath people were out in the desert, like collecting steamy magma droth droppings to sell to the KO for like pennies. And they find out later that like, oh, the KO are selling these for like a ton of money and are just exploiting these people.
Oh my god. Classic.
Which is very on brand. On brand.
Yeah, it is kind of how they are, right? I don't know though. I mean, like, I think the KO. Picture a Gunhauler.
Yeah.
The size of an ironclad. I mean, the Gunhauler.
Wouldn't that just be an ironclad?
No, because the Gunhauler is like a small thing that holds one big gun and 5 little dudes, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, the ironclad, imagine, like, hold up a Gunhauler right now. You have 2 of them there, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like mostly gun.
Are you saying they need to build an A10
wait, hold up to the other
sorry.
Oh, wait, you don't have... Yeah, look at the gun on there, yeah. Imagine... Oh, that's not that big, actually. It's pretty big. Imagine an ironclad with a huge gun, just like 6 plus D6 damage. That's not really an ultimate weapon, but in Sigmar rules, one
picture
shot.
A gun the size of a gun. Thank you.
Yeah, one shot, hits on 4, wounds on 2, rend 2.
So you're saying they could make a rail gun, a Tau rail gun?
Yeah, right. If anybody could, it'd be them.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I don't know. Okay, so people.
Listen, I'm gonna give it to KO. Like I said, I think they have a higher technological ceiling.
Same. That's sort of what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, I think that I'd be more likely to expect them to come up with something like that.
Also, sorry, can I just point something out before we move on?
Yeah.
Isn't it really odd that KO, not KO, Dwarves, both in Fantasy and Caradron Overlords Age of Sigmar, both build flying machines before they build ground machines? Isn't that weird? They're dwarves, like they live in the ground. You think they'd be like, no, we need to stick to the ground. We need to make a giant tank train or something. Why do they go immediately to, let's build a helicopter? I feel like they skipped a step.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is kind of a good call out. Because they don't have do they have anything else in no, right? There's no.
As far as I know, no. As far as I know, no. They have cannons, but they don't have any ground war machines.
Yeah, it is kind of weird.
They have the Goblin Hewer, which is like a conveyor belt that chucks axes, but that's not really. That's still closer to like a cannon in my mind.
Yeah. Sounds pretty dumb, honestly.
It is. It's very dumb. I love it, but I love it.
Okay, all right. So crafting the ultimate weapon. Again, I'm with you. I think that their technology level is just. I mean, if Dispossessed get their act together and go visit the KO, they're going to be like, "Oh shit,
We need to get our things together.
We need to get our act together." Yeah. Okay. So next. Okay, here we go. Next, who's better at having Thanksgiving with the NASCAR uncle?
Oh God.
So
Okay.
Thanksgiving is an American holiday. If you don't know, every country has some kind of Thanksgiving, but in the U.S., one of the things we kind of like to joke about, it's famous for getting stuck with family you don't see very often, and finding a family that you are just wildly different from. And time has elapsed. You haven't seen them for a few years. So this is kind of a cliche. Who's better? Who gets along better with the NASCAR uncle?
I know Warhammer, Dwarfs of Fantasy. They're big on your ancestors. The question is an uncle an ancestor?
Yeah. Well, family, right?
Yeah. I don't know. It depends on how much of it. Really depends on the fantasy dwarf. Are they into NASCAR? Apparently not. They're into helicopters and boats, but not ground vehicles.
Soups and Sir Strummen are pointing out that dwarves are the NASCAR uncle, especially Dispossessed. And I would add this. Yeah. I would add the concept. Oh man, we're gonna get very political. It's so great that we can do this without Mega around right now. The whole concept of capitalist leadership elite party, right, is that the thing is you just want to be in charge so you can set all the rules and make your money. That's what KO do. Yes. The second you enter into a democracy, you have a problem because now you need people to vote for you. But the problem is there's only a few rich people. So if it's voting, you're like, well, we can't win elections because there's only a few of us. And it's like, what's your platform? We stay rich, you stay poor. No one's going to vote for us. So you have to basically delude large groups of people into things like, you need freedom. We'll make sure you have freedom, right? So, like, I think the KO guy, the NASCAR uncle would love the KO guy because he's the KO guy is like the wealthy capitalist showing up saying, look, I love freedom. What about you? And he's going to be like, yes, I love freedom. So I don't know. This is a hard, almost, you know what? We thought we thought it'd be hard. We think actually now both groups get along. They'd be tripping to get along with the NASCAR uncle.
They are the NASCAR. They are the NASCAR uncle.
They are the NASCAR uncle. Yeah, yeah. I don't know how. We got to Marxism, but we did a little bit. Okay, I think we have one more.
Is there one more?
There's one more. MLMs.
All right.
Who does MLMs better?
I feel like this is. I feel like this is set up. I feel like this is geared towards the KO. I feel like this was a setup.
You think KO would be better at MLMs than Dispossessed?
Well, I guess it depends. Are the KO at the top of the MLM? I think they would start one. I think they would see through it if they were trying to be sold on it, though. I think they're savvy enough. Okay,
so they want to build their downline, though, you think?
Yeah. Oh, if they're starting the MLM, it's going to be amazing. But they're not going to buy into it. They're too smart for it.
What kind of MLM would KO do?
I don't know.
I don't think it would be like a Herbalife. I don't think it would be like a supplement.
You don't think? I mean, they do their whole beer thing. Be like, oh, it's like healthy beer.
KO do?
Oh no. Well, the
dwarves in general. Dwarves. Well, and that's also a fair point. Like the people making the MLM don't really care. They don't have to be passionate about the product. Like, you know what I mean? You ever go into like a locally, like a small business?
Okay, you know what? Yeah, like, sorry.
like a Wendy's. You ever go into like a franchised Wendy's? It's not like anyone. It's not like the owner is passionate about Wendy's, right?
I don't know.
You
Dave was pretty passionate about Wendy's.
Right, Dave was passionate about Wendy's, but Dave, he made it at that. Like
That's what I'm saying.
You don't start. Okay, Wendy's is a Burger King. You don't start a Burger King because you're like, I'm passionate about burgers or I'm passionate about Burger King. You start it because you want to make money some stupid, easy way, right? So that's KO. They don't care. I guess you're right. Like, they don't care what the MLM, what the product is.
I think they'd be really good at they'd be good at selling the downline, as you said.
Yeah.
I think they're savvy enough to know, like, all right, we got to make some cheap crap that we can mass produce and, get off of our hands quickly. So I'm going to say KO. I feel like this is designed for them.
I mean,
I think the first MLM in the Mortal Realms was made by KO, for sure.
Yeah, probably. I think there's probably a case to be made, though, that after going through all these answers, where the KO did significantly better than the Dispossessed, it's just evidence to Matt Rose that the Dispossessed need a refresh.
Or to go to Legends.
Or to go to Legends. I mean, truthfully, I kind of imagine both are going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think we'll probably... but that raises a quick question. I know we want to dip in and see how you're doing, Saray, but real quick, I just want to say, I mean, honestly, the Gyrocopter, in my opinion, holds up. Its only real problem is it's a little small. Like, I would want, if this was a modern AOS unit, I'd want it probably on a 40 mil and to come in units of 3.
Yeah, I was going to say, it just needs to be a multi-model unit.
Because look at this thing. It's tiny. Yeah, give me my little 3-up save. Give me my 12-inch move. 210 for 3.
A 3-up save?
Oh,
his head's poking. His head's poking out. No, he gets a 4-up.
Dude, this is a 3-up save. Come on.
No way.
His head's poking out, but he's got goggles on.
Oh, okay. Safety first, so.
Yeah, like this, but otherwise, like, I could really see, it'd be super cool for them to give them a hardcore, like, Leonardo da Vinci element to them. I think that would be kind of cool. Like, I'd want to see Dispossessed redone in a way where their vehicles show that they've been living among humans and elves and have, like, a lighter touch to them than even a KO vehicle, right? A KO vehicle is still, I think, very inherently a dwarven piece of equipment. They're dwarves, right? They're dwarves in it for dwarves, and they've built these heavily armored, heavily armed, mobile e-commerce vehicles, right? I want to see like Da Vinci-esque elements in my Dispossessed.
So something I've been saying, and I'm going to keep saying until they fix it or kill the faction. We need to be the whole point of Cities of Sigmar is that it's these different races living together. So I think you're right. I think we need to see a dwarven gyrocopter, something, whatever, with a mixed crew. There needs to be some humans working on it. There needs to be an elf with their, on the telescope, not telescope, looking out with their spyglass. There needs to be dwarfs running the ship, being the engineers. That's what I want to see. That's like kind of the whole appeal of the Cities of Sigmar. And if you're going to keep the dwarves in there, they need to incorporate them.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I don't want that. I don't actually. I want this like, I expect them to be in Grand Alliance order. I expect them to, if allies are ever a thing again, be allies with Lumineth and be allies with Cities of Sigmar, right? and be allies with KO, and maybe be allies with cities of Sigmar and Lumineth before they're even allies with Fire Slayers, who, quite frankly, are psychotic jerks, right?
Yes.
So I kind of like, I want them to be dwarves. I don't want them to be in mixed units anymore. I mean, like, they're doing that now with cities, and if they wanted to make an army like that, then they should make an army like that. Where it's
they
like
should have. I'm still so on that. I can't believe they didn't do that with the steel.
But they
helms,
really
man.
appear to be pulling away from it, right?
Which is the wrong direction.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think we all. I don't know. Like Connor brings up a good point, but that's not. I don't know how true exactly that is, Connor, in more updated lore. I think the humans are starting to make their own stuff again. I'm not sure. Anyway, you know, the dwarves. Listen, there's three elf factions. There should be 3 dwarf factions.
But there's no mixed race faction. Well, is there? As far as I know, there's not.
Seraphon.
Yeah, Seraphon. Okay, fair. But there's no humanoid mixed race fact. Like, and that's the whole point of Cities of Sigmar.
Well, kind of, Saray, but I feel like that was never like a goal in the lore, right? Like, you know,
They should fix the lore then.
I don't think it was ever a goal in the lore, and yeah, you had like the kind of World of Warcraft, right? Like, does that. World of Warcraft has like the elves, dwarves, and humans all kind of working together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm. It's gonna go one. It should go one. I like the idea of it going one direction or another, but I mean, there needs to be an army of just like normal humans, right?
Does there?
I don't know. I guess there doesn't need to be anything, but I feel like I'd like the idea of there being an army of, you know, just normal humans, and an army of just, you know, dispossessed or whatever.
Wow.
But no, does there? No, I guess you're right. Not really.
Yeah, they can segregate them. So, yes, exactly. Ty gets it. I can't figure out how this steel helm unit would hit because there's elves and dwarves.
Yeah.
You want to know what the actual answer is? You say something like, the cities have made the elves and dwarves weak, so they all hit on 4s and wound on 4s.
Yeah, everyone got worse because they watch too much TV and eat too much ramen.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, dwarves, you know, elves used to hit on 3, but now they can watch Temptation Island and get Tayachi, which is, you know, ice cream stuffed in a fish waffle cone. And so now they hit on 4s.
So now they hit on 4s, unfortunately.
Oh, also, elves used to be lactose intolerant, but they're not anymore. Okay, well... Anyway,
Wait.
Yeah.
Here. This opens the door to half elves, half dwarves, and the like.
Oh, you want breeding to become part of this?
Yes, I just want Warhammer to talk about breeding, please. Please, I need lore on the breeding, please. Yeah.
Oh my god!
Get Dan Abnett in here and tell him about that breeding.
Oh god! I actually, you know, Liberty Fires brings up kind of an interesting comment. He says he just wants them to expand on the current factions. Here's a hot take. What if, hear me out, they don't do that too much? And I'm gonna be honest with you. I kind of like more but tighter armies. Like, some armies certainly need to be expanded upon, but I'll give you an example of a couple armies that you look at the line and you're like, okay, that's pretty good. Like, they could use 1 or 2 more things over the next decade, but maybe that's it. Deepkin. Take a look at Deepkin, right? You got your You got your infantry guys. You got your archer infantry, your melee infantry. You got your foot characters. You got your eel cavalry. You got your shark. You got your giant turtle.
You got your shark.
You got your monster in the form of a giant turtle. Like, do we really need new units for that army? Like, I don't know.
I guess I would ask, like, yeah. I'm not saying I 100% disagree with you. That was Ty, right?
Liberty.
Liberty. What is your ideal faction in terms of unit diversity and stuff like that?
Yeah,
I feel like Stormcast is like too much. I don't think every faction needs to be like Stormcast.
Well, it's too much, and it's almost a little bit bizarre how few monsters they have. They really have 2.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you want to have if you put too many units into a faction, they kind of lose their identity, right? Because not every faction should have cavalry. That's not necessarily true, but as an example, right? Like, does every faction need elite infantry? Maybe not, because then you lose the identity. Stormcast probably shouldn't have chaff units, right? Because then their whole identity is they're an elite army. Yeah. But if you keep expanding the range, eventually you're gonna have to go into those areas.
Comedically, they currently have arguably the cheapest, best chaff unit in the game.
The Gryph-hounds.
Gryph-hounds, yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing in the game costs 80 points. Nothing in the game costs under 100 points except for Gryph-hounds.
I guess maybe Stormcast's actual identity is the jack of all trades, but you understand what I'm saying, right? Not every faction. Yeah.
Okay, Liberty. Yes. What has everybody? What's an army that has the right amount of units? I'm trying to think for me. I'm gonna stand by Deepkin because they have they have 2 cavalry. They have a unique heavy cavalry in the form of the shark, and the shark is their heavy calv is a shooting unit. That's kind of cool. That's unique, but it can also hit kind of hard, but not like Varangard. Like, I think 1 Varangard versus 1 shark in melee. The shark just has more wounds, but I think the Varangard otherwise probably wrecks him. So they have heavy calv. They don't have light calv. They have heavy calv, and I guess eels are medium light calv. They hit very hard. Ty. Ty brings up Ty says Flesh Eater Courts. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Flesh Eater. As an army of a range that doesn't really need expansion, right?
Yeah, Flesh Eater Courts, right? You got your Mortark. That's cool. You got your big centerpiece legendary character. Deepkin don't have that. They have Volturnus, but he's not really like that. And they have Lotan, but he's like a little foot guy, right? So you've got Deepkin. You've got your Flesh Eater Courts. You've got your big centerpiece. You've got a monster character, dragon, guy on dragon. Dragon can be taken by itself. You've got 2 types of dragons. You've got Morbeg Knights. That's your cavalry. You've got your big elite infantry and the horrors. You've got shooty big infantry and flayers. And then you have 2 units of little guys. One that's absolute chaff, and one that has a little bit better profile and this kind of unique role of being a bodyguard.
Yeah.
It's kind of perfect, actually. I think you're right, Ty. It might be Flesh Eater Courts, actually.
Sir Stroming Fish. I actually am kind of on board with you. I think Slaves to Darkness before Dark Oath were the perfect size. I think Dark Oath kind of bloats them and is maybe a little confusing. I feel like Dark Oath should have been its own thing.
Its own thing, almost, right?
Yeah. I feel like Dark Oath pre Dark Oath just needed updates to updated sculpts, but I don't think they needed more units.
He says Fire Slayers KO Iron Jaws. Fire Slayers just need a little bit more diversity. Yeah, like they need a cavalry unit or something.
Yeah, I agree. I think KO needs a little bit of expansion. I think they need a ground unit.
You want like a ground vehicle. Yeah, I know.
Yes, I want something a little bit slower and tougher, and I don't think that would necessarily be at odds with the army like I was talking about. Like, you need to have strengths and weaknesses. I think them having something a little bit slower and bigger and tougher with a little bit more melee output would be good. Alternatively, I would like you could go with a fast hard-hitting boat that's basically like Slaves to Darkness, like Karkadrak or
Like a skiff,
Beast. Yeah, like something that does damage when it charges. Like I
like a
think they need
chariot,
some.
basically, like a skiff chariot type thing.
Yeah, exactly, something
Yeah.
like that. I was gonna say, or like a Beast Claw Raider, Stonehorn when they charge, they do damage. I think that'd be
Oh,
something
yeah.
good for the army. You make it a war machine, a boat, or something would be interesting. But yeah, I kind of agree. I don't think they need much more than that, unless you want to do. I don't think they should have tough infantry. I feel like that's at odds with KO. Like I think the balloon guys are kind of where you want to be. Like,
Yeah, you don't want like. I mean, also though, to be fair, I could totally see them. Oh no, we suddenly lost Cire. I think he'll be back in. He's got to refresh. There he is. You're back.
oh, am I back?
You're back.
Here, I'll refresh my cameras just in case.
Um,
Weird.
I could totally see KO having like something like a gunhauler that drops off like one guy in a mech, like steampunky big mech suit, right? Like a monster.
Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, you can kind of like, you can kind of, but you also still always kind of have to ask yourself, like, does the line need it, or because they're, before they, Ty, I'll give you an example of, I mean, like horrors versus Morbeg Knights. They have done a little bit of a better job of differentiating the two, and giving them slightly different roles with keywords now. But when Morbeg Knights were introduced back in third, like there's really not significant differences between Morbeg Knights and horrors. Like, right, they're almost too close still. Anyway, it's an interesting conversation. But I'd rather see. I don't know if I agree with you, Liberty, that I'd rather see them expand. Some armies need some expansion for sure. Daughters, I would like a monster that isn't Marathi. Nighthaunt, I would like a monster at all. Like
big ghost.
A big ghost, but it kind of like, I think they've struggled with the lore because of what the lore for Nighthaunt is, which is
Right,
that like it's a bunch of mostly former humans, sometimes elves, sometimes dwarves or whatever, who are
I'll be right back. You keep talking to chat.
Yeah, who are like being punished for some crime, right? So I don't know. The faction has less than 20 options. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I know Nighthaunt used to have the what was he called? The Morinhall or whatever. Moringall. Not a fan of the kit, if I'm honest. Okay, I'll show you guys where I'm at here. Right now, what I'm doing is just like putting a little bit of contrast paint, ethermatic blue. That's been a little bit thinned out on a lot of the brass elements that I had on here. The front there. Down here. It's a tiny, adorable little kit. Yeah, like a swarm, like a giant swarm of ghosts that counts as a monster. Hey, sorry, we're back.
Yep, what's up? Yeah, I guess that kind of brings up an interesting conversation about like, we should talk about like what is every army, what is their identity, and what's like a unit that could be added to it. I guess Cities of Sigmar is kind of, I think, kind of in a perfect spot unit wise. They just need new models.
Well, they got it, but I mean, honestly, listen. If you strip the dwarves and the elves out of Cities of Sigmar,
Yeah.
there may be, again, there may be a non-character monster away from being perfect.
Yeah.
Like,
There we go.
I'm trying to think what kind of like monster. Oh wait, these views got flipped. That's so weird.
Oh, I think it's because. Hold on. Wait. I wonder if it's Video Ninja. One sec.
It's definitely Video Ninja.
Weird.
It didn't really matter in any of these other ones, but now I kind of like it. The intense close-up. It's like just different. You don't see a lot of YouTube channels doing that.
Did I fix it? Is it fixed?
No. You guys like this better? How do people feel about this? Small window to see what he's doing.
Oh!
Intense close-up of most of the screen.
I don't know why it's doing that.
I could do it. I could do it in studio mode. Hold on, we'll go back here. I'll fix it.
All right. Dang it.
I kind of like it though.
For factions, factions less than 20 options on the GW shirt that could use a little bump. Iron Jaws and Cruel Boy share a page at 30, that seems like, yeah, Cruel Boys probably need an expansion now that they've been pushed out on their own, right? They don't have their own cav, right?
They don't. They have a character guy, Gnashtooth. Guy on Nat. They have a creature that could certainly be that though.
Yeah.
Basically, they have a character that's doing the role. They just would need to
expand the range,
turn it into a unit, right?
Yeah, I could see that. Some smaller versions of that. I
mean, daughters only have light calv.
I think that's fine.
I think it could be fine too. Like you're saying, it's like, what's the unit's identity, or what's the army's identity, right? And so to that end, daughters, do they need? I mean, not really. It's a horde of cultists, right? Like that's what you're playing when you play daughters. You play elves who worship the elven god of war.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a horde of cultists. I don't know. Are they really like?
Are they? No, they shouldn't be wearing heavy cavalry. They should definitely not have that.
Yeah, I don't think they need them at all. So, same. But like, not having a monster feels weird. Even if Nighthaunt in their lore don't really make sense to have one. I still kind of feel like they should.
Yeah, I think. Thank you, Liberty, for bringing that up. That stuff, though. I guess I would say for these the factions you brought up, though, I feel like Fire Slayers are the only ones that really need a big bump. I think KO could probably use 1 or 2 more units. Deepkin probably the same, right? Yeah. Daughters of Cain, a monster.
Daughters of Cain could definitely use a wizard elf. That's not Marathi. Our only wizard is the Snake Lady.
Yeah.
So we could use an elf sorceress lady on some kind of cool dragon. Like basically take the black dragon.
You just want everything. All right.
Yeah. I mean, not really. No, I want a sorceress. I want a hero elf sorceress. That's not a snake girl.
A witch mecha guardian.
A wizard. And I want a dragon. Some kind of shadow dragon thing or something.
Sorry, that's for Umberneth, loser.
I know. Yeah. Well, okay. So let's close the poll. But before we do, Molecule says, thank you, Molecule, for your support as always. An army of confused suburban boomers in khakis and New Balance shoes. Their stats are terrible, but they can change the rules whenever they want. Thank you.
That's amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
But those would be dwarfs.
Yeah, that's pretty close to dwarves. Okay, so the poll, the clear winner, Chaos Dwarves, then Umberneth, and Dispossessed, maybe separated by a vote. Those two are pretty close. Yeah, I'm not empathetic when people start saying like, oh, I want my Dark Elves. I want Dark Elves in Sigmar. I'm like, you kind of already have them, dude. And also, like, the other thing about Sigmar that people have to accept, which is why I'm like dispossessed will need some kind of cute twist, right? Is everything has a twist, right?
Oh yeah. Oops, sorry, I'm not on the screen.
So
Yeah.
like here's another army if you love dark elves. I'll throw out there, freaking Deepkin. Like, what are they? what are they? They are like
Oh my god,
close
Zach's
to
out here
being.
to make.
I mean,
Yeah.
thematically,
I mean, yeah,
yeah,
thematically they're kind of similar. I can see it, right? They're raiders. They kidnap people.
yeah. You want exactly a very specific thing. That specific thing exists already.
All right. Here's the niche that dark elves are gonna. I think that they're gonna want to fill. The problem is that this might overlap a little bit with some other factions, but they need to be the dark mirror of Lumineth, right? That's what you have. You have Slaves of Darkness, you have Chaos, right? They're like dark mirrors of each other. They have a lot of similar things. One's maybe deals a little bit more damage. One's a little bit more versatile.
Yeah.
I think that's what Umberneth are going to be. They're going to be Lumineth, but evil. Maybe a little more emphasis on magic, I guess.
Yeah, maybe magic and melee over the shooting.
Yeah, or damage dealing magic is what I would think of. Like, and that's not something we see a ton of in any army. Not even Tzeentch is that much like damage dealing magic, right?
No, but yeah, I'm
also
just
heavy
like,
armor.
I think the other ways they could. So I think the coolest stuff that was happening with Dark Elves was towards the end of Fantasy was all the coastal like Black Ark Corsair stuff.
Yeah.
Because they need a theme, right? So they're going to be from Ungol, they're going to be shadowy, but like this is already thematic in Daughters of Cain. So I'm like, yeah, what theme do you give them? Like, what's different about them, right? Why do we need this army? Like, why do we need another Order army of elves? We have 3, right? We already have 3 like Order armies of elves, and one of them is like, yeah. So I would be more on board, and Umbrenet, like super hardcore Dark Elf players would be so mad if this happened. But I would literally be on board with like to make 4 or 5 units and just add them to Daughters of Cain. And it's like, cool, Marathi and Malakin or whatever, like realigned or whatever.
Malaria,
whatever. Like they realigned or whatever. Like here's his kit. Here's a Dark Elf warrior. Here's a Dark Elf archer. Here's the cavalry kit that makes Doomfire Warlocks already makes Dark Riders, right? And that kit holds up great. Like literally.
So you're thinking a Dark Oath, Cruel Boys situation, right? Where it's like basically a sub-faction within a faction.
Hold on. I would say those two things are different.
Well, now Cruel Boys are their own thing, but for a while they were essentially a wing of Daughters of Cain, right?
A wing of no. So the way orcs worked were that there were 3 distinct orc species, and you picked one, or you picked Big Wog.
Yeah,
which is all of them. No, they were different, but like I would say not like that. I would say like Dark Oath. Yeah.
Dark Oath, okay.
The Umbrenath are like I can take my Witch Elves and over here is a unit of but my problem with doing this, you can see that it's what we talked about. My problem with doing this is that you start to lose identity. Like Daughters of Cain have a really good identity right now. It's like Roman cult, like it's elves who worship the god of war, which is like corn, like basically corn.
Cain.
Right. It is. There's like a lot of like connections between the two, right? Like, and they're fanatic, and they're like they have this very specific thing, which elves used to just be in fantasy, right? As part of the Dark Elf army, but they siphoned them off, and then they added the snake element to it. Now you're going to add that first element back into it, and I'm like, yeah, it's getting a little muddled,
I think there's room for a more heavily armored, super tricky. Okay, this is going to sound. I imagine somewhere between Nighthaunt and Lumineth, and Daughters of Cain. Like you get those three, and you like wherever those overlap is kind of where I see this faction sitting. And that they probably have like weird teleport shenanigans.
Well, okay, so this is what I was going to bring up. That teleporting unit I have, Canite Shadowstalkers, they are not like technically Daughters of Cain,
Right?
they use they have umbral stuff like throughout their lore, so they are pretty close to like Umbraneth. Like, so give them a few more units, give them like more of a melee unit, give them a wizard or a character or two. But again, I don't think that's what people want. People want a full. Give me my repeating crossbows. Give me my sorceress on Black Dragon. They want like a full line. I'm just kind of like I don't think there's room for it. Sorry, guys. Whereas there is room for Hashut worshipping Chaos Dwarves. There is room for, in my opinion, there is room for Dispossessed.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's more room for Umbraneth than there are for Dispossessed.
No, there's no. Where is like the classic dwarf, right? Where's like the classic dwarf in Sigmar? It's just like hanging out, tucked into cities. Like, come on, you can do better than that, right? Maybe not.
Maybe not. Because I mean, it's kind of the problem with what you just said, though, is that part of what used to be the Dispossessed, what are now the Dispossessed, was the Fire Slayers, right? Fire Slayers are their own thing now. They used to be the Slayers, right? They're their own thing now. Do you reincorporate them? Do you turn them back into a super faction of just dwarves, and you add KO to that as well? That's kind of a wild army. I think that seems like a very non-cohesive idea of an army. And yet that's kind of what dwarves used to be, right? It used to be the helicopters and the slayers and the dispossessed and all this stuff. So it's weird because I don't know what you do now in that situation.
Yeah, you're not wrong. They divided things up and split it up and said, here's this wing of dwarves, here's this wing of dwarves, and now you have to kind of answer sort of what I'm saying with the problem with Dark Elves, right? With Dark Elves, it's split to Lumineth. Like, Lumineth got away with still existing. But even Wood Elves, they changed so dramatically that there's one war scroll in that book that has the elf keyword. It's Alariel, right? Like, there's no elves in Sylvaneth, right? They were like, no, there's too many elves. These aren't even going to be elves anymore. So, like, how do you... You're right in this regard. Like, so Dispossessed become, here's this new army of this old classic. Here they are. They're your classic mountain dwarves. You know, you have to give them a few, because let's face it, of all the factions in Order even, there's certainly a case to be made that Lumineth are the closest to like an old world faction, right? They got kangaroos and they got like a stone giant cow thing that comes to life, right? Other than that, you kind of look at everything in there. You look at Dawn Riders, you look at Sentinels, you look at Wardens.
Yeah, you can see the equivalent of their old
You're like, these
world.
are high elves. These are high elves, right?
Yeah.
It's when you add these flying foxes and these
the anime elements.
yeah, that it's like different, right? So, Brett's right. Seraphon too are very close to the old world, but Seraphon were like very. I mean, they came from the old world, super unique. Like Lizardmen in Dungeons and Dragons were like
and Skaven, right?
And Skaven, right? Lizardmen and Skaven are very highly unique GW creations, right? Or at least ripped off from less obvious things, right? So like they're fine. They were easy to port over from the old world without a twist. In fact, I think they basically have no twists from the old world. Everything else like really got like a Sigmar twist, you know?
Yeah.
So what Sigmar twist do you give Dispossessed? What Sigmar twist do you give Umbraneth?
Umbraneth, they're all ghosts.
That's
not ghosts.
You're literally describing Sylvaneth, though. So that has already happened, right? That is Sylvaneth. Sylvaneth are like elves who are who are ghosts and have possessed.
Maybe not ghosts, but like shadow people.
Shadow people, yeah, from Ogle.
Yeah, they're all shadow people.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I was kind of joking about the Night Haunt, but now that I think about it, what if you have a similar idea of the, I guess Night Haunt have the whole unrendable thing. That'd be really annoying to have in another army, and you probably don't want to overlap. But you could do something along those lines of, the shadow people, so you can only. Oh God, this would be so annoying. But you can only hit them on 4s or something like that. Stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess I'm just sort of like design space wise. It's funny that you used Lumineth, Daughters, and Night Haunt because that's like, with the exception of Lumineth, that's like my play space, and I'm kind of like,
you don't want it.
No, it's not that. It's just because frankly, without naming Lumineth, you could have named Deepkin, which is like I'm painting up now, right? I'm just like,
yeah.
It's pointless. You don't need more armies in that play space, really, right? Like, I don't know. I need a really passionate Lumineth or Umbraneth person, maybe Steven, who's thought more about it than I have, to come and tell me what's their AOS twist, what's their play space that's not already taken. I guess those two. Those are the two answers. Those are the two questions. Same. Yeah. And I had those questions about Dispossessed as well.
I think with the where do you go with them is they're shadow people. I think that's a good. That's kind of what their lore is, right? It's like they're kind of living between realms. Like they're kind of watching everything. People don't really know like where or what they're doing. I think that's what their lore is. I'm not 100% up to date with Umbraneth lore, but I think the idea of like half ghost people is kind of ghost elves is kind of cool.
It is kind of cool.
Sorry, shadow elves. Sorry, excuse me.
Okay, hold on. So it is kind of cool, but here's again, I would say, ready? Like,
yeah.
Soothsayer brings up good design space play, which is that with Beast going to, Beast going.
Oh
to
yeah,
Legends.
the ambush faction. Yeah.
But here's the thing: Skaven are the new Beasts of Chaos. And while that is an inside joke that anyone can share based on a Saturday intro forever ago and an insane Facebook user, it's also kind of true. That is like Skaven are sort of like the ambush faction now.
But they're chaos though. They don't have an order version of it. And
okay.
you can make it different. Like you already have the teleporting whatever you call them, shadow stalkers.
So yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like shadow people, that is sort of what Canite shadow stalkers are. They're sort of what you're describing. They travel the umbral way, web way. Basically, elves have a web way in Sigmar. And these guys travel it. Yeah, I don't know. Okay,
I don't know.
What about...
I think the ambush thing is actually good because I think you have Skaven. Yes, they kind of have the ambush thing, but they're not really. They are a horde with machines faction. Is more where I would put them. They are a chaff-heavy or monster-heavy list, right?
Yeah.
You don't have a MSU style ambush faction, or I mean, if you want to look at, here an interesting mechanic you could bring over from another game is the GSC stuff from 40K. You don't have anything like that in AOS, and I think that would fit perfectly with Umbraneth as an idea, at least.
Yeah, potentially. Anyway, maybe you're not wrong, but here's my problem with all this. Ready? I like everything you're saying, but my problem is from the way interactions I've had with. Okay, so what you're saying is take dark elves and make them different.
Yes, but people want dark elves.
I'm saying that needs to happen because it's AOS. You have to have a twist. Take dark elves and make them different. Okay. Again, we're back to where we started. That already happened, and like. What's going to happen is if you make Dark Elf shadow people, hardcore Dark Elf people are going to be like, no, I want my dark shards. I want my repeater crossbows. I want my elves with extra pointy helmets and purple and chainmail. And
listen. You're gonna have to give up that. They're not gonna look
right,
how you want them to look.
So you're giving them up. They're not going to be the same. So there's a twist, and I'm saying it already happened. It's Daughters of Cain. There already has been a twist. Snake women, like this god.
But they don't have armor. I think
so
you can. We've turned this dwarf stream into an elf stream.
This is no, I know, but this is like what I know to be true based on conversations that I have with like Steven and other like dark elf fanatic people. They're like not really willing to get a new faction. They literally want like what's in cities to just be an army. From my experience interacting with dark elf people, they're not prepared for a twist, and you can kind of tell they're not prepared for a twist because if they were prepared for a twist, they'd just be playing Daughters of Cain. Like, I kind of don't get it. I kind of don't get what they want, but I think I do get what they want, and I don't think they're getting it anytime ever.
All right,
like
listen,
basically.
You're gonna have you give out the you lose the pointy hats. You're not getting those back. Sorry. Look, they already proved that with the horns on the Lumineth.
Literally, let's keep going. But you've lost half of the people who want.
Yeah, that's fine. They'll come back. You replace. They all have hoods now. Because they're sketchy and shadowy.
Wait, normal hoods or pointy hoods?
They're pointed, but they go backwards. They don't go up.
Okay, definitely go backwards on the pointy hoods. Okay.
You can't paint them white. Sorry, you can't paint them in white cloth.
Okay.
They're shadow people. Okay, I think you can have a split within the faction where you have people who have gone full. I'm a shadow person, and then you have people who haven't ascended, and you have like the more corporeal, the more regular human or human elf, the people have real human bodies, because they haven't been drinking their shadow juice enough.
All right, but just so you know, this is also insanely similar to the differentiation between snake girls and dark elves in
well, they're the same faction as we've already discussed.
They just found a new way to manipulate their physiology.
Yeah, they just turned them into boys and gave them armor. That's the difference.
Yeah, the more we have this conversation, which I appreciate, I like all the inputs and ideas from everybody, Saray, especially you, but the more I think about this, the more I realize Umbreneth is never happening, and I'm kind of like, sorry, Dark Elf fans, but I'm like kind of okay with it. Yeah, and I agree with Brett. They re-released Old World specifically to address these types of issues, right? Like, I don't know. I think we might see like more Shadow Stalkers and Daughters. I think that's like as close as you're gonna get. You're not gonna. We might see a sorceress on a black dragon. Some of these things might show up, but I think eventually, after like another 5 to 10 years, Dark Elf Grognards are going to have to be like, oh, there's been a Dark Elf army the whole time. It's been Daughters, and I just like didn't do it, right?
I just didn't do it.
I just didn't get it. So here's the follow-up question to that, though. Before we go on to the second part of our segment, back to dwarves. Let's bring it back to dwarves.
Bring it back to dwarves. Yeah, we're going to get canceled by the dwarf faction.
Yeah. Sorry, we're talking about elves of all things too much.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, even though, like, shut up, dwarves. Your favorite race other than yourselves is elves. Like,
it's they're very tsundere.
Right. I love how dwarves like the lore is that they hate every other race. And they're like, oh, we hate elves. It's like more than goblins and orcs and ogres and like, come on, get serious. What race do they like more? Yeah, get real. They're your best friends. Shut up. Anyway, okay. Take this conversation we've been having and apply it to Dispossessed. Are the Troll Slayers or Fire Slayers the same thing? Like, Dispossessed players are going to look back and realize, oh, that was it. That was Dispossessed. Like, it's the Fire Slayers, right?
No, I think there's...
Or is there design space? Because sorry, Saray, but
yeah.
I'm suggesting there's really no design space. There's limited design space play style wise. A, and B, lore-wise, there's also limited design space for Umbraneth. Is that the case? I think that there is.
Okay.
Limited.
We'll just assume.
Because
we'll just go. No, for your point, we'll just stick with it.
For my point. So is that the case with Dispossessed? Is there design space for Dispossessed, playstyle wise?
So their playstyle in fantasy was like sturdy but slow infantry, and then a gun line, and then some cannons. Right, like that was kind of their thing.
Mm-hmm.
Overlords than they Dispossessed. Sorry, I was just reading Madman's comments.
Right. No, and Brett made the same comment about wood elves and dark elves, right?
Yeah.
And bones splitters as well, by the way, for orcs. The
R.I.P.
The tribal orcs. And beastmen.
Well, they just need Skaven.
They just need Skaven, the new Beast of Chaos. But yeah. Okay.
It never gets old.
I would submit in Sigmar that playstyle there is space. Like medium numbers, so not Stormcast eliteness, but not Horde. Mm-hmm. But maybe you can go up to Horde, like Daughters, because you don't have to play Daughters as a Horde. You can take Snake Girls, right? They're 2 wounds each. So you give me my 2 wound dwarves, right? They come in units of 5, and I can reinforce them to 10. But I can get my foot infantry. I can get my elite foot infantry. I can get my guys with like rifles. I can get my guys with crossbows. You know, the kit builds both. Whatever. I've got my tanks. I would kind of submit that what I'm describing.
Well, they didn't have those, but
no tanks. Okay, so maybe they.
You'd have to make those.
Yeah, or give them like walkers. Like they're the guys with walkers. Like give them like little like he's inside of it, like using a little like thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's the unique twist. That's one of the unique twists, right? So like, I would say I think playstyle wise, there probably is space for them that can connect with their lore.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm wrong. Like 3-4 up armor.
I mean, it kind of sounds like you're describing Nurgle but with cannons, which is a play style. Like it is a space that is open.
Better armor.
Yeah. Better armor than a 3-up. I'm talking about Blight Kings.
Yeah, but Blight Kings are a component of Nurgle.
Okay.
Right. Because I'm also describing
Slaves of Darkness.
I'm also describing a Chaos Warrior. Right. Right. So, like, yeah, I mean, a Chaos Warrior is a good place to start. Like, they'd probably be very similar to a Chaos Warrior. They'd probably hit... Chaos Warriors are 2 wounds, right? So they'd probably hit worse. Maybe wound the same, or the other way around, like elves.
Yeah.
Elves are 3s and 4s. Maybe dwarves are 4s and 3s.
I think that's what it is, actually. Oh, that's what orcs...
No, see, this is the problem. That's orcs. Orcs are... And, he'll be back. Orcs and Geist and Nighthaunt, right? I don't know. Oh, wait. That's the least interesting view. There he is.
Just keep happening. I'm back.
It was funny, too. You froze like in a hilarious pose for a moment. Yeah. But see, this is another point about dwarves right now is they're super confused. Like, Matt Rose has his... species logic, right? That Ty was talking about earlier, right? Where everybody hits and okay, Fire Slayers have totally different stats from KO, have totally different stats from Dispossess. They can't even agree on how many wounds a dwarf should have. Like, dwarves have no consistency right now across like what they do.
Yeah, that's why they weren't in the chart.
Right? Yeah, they make no sense. Like KO or what did KO hit on?
3s. And wound on 3s.
Hit and wound on 3s? Okay.
Dwarves are Chaos Warriors, is what we discovered.
Yeah, pretty much. Which maybe I'm okay with. I don't know. Anyway, I personally think there's design space for him. Tell me if I'm wrong, chat. I don't know. What do you, Saray? What's the design space you see for Dispossessed?
I That's the thing is I don't think I really do see one compared to. I feel like everything I would say would be, oh, just leave them in Cities of Sigmar, right? You want a tough gunline army. You already have that with Cities of Sigmar, right? Like they have their guys with the big tower shields and guns. That feels very much in the same space as Dwarfs would be. Maybe you incorporate more cannons than Cities of Sigmar, but I feel like you just add cannons to Cities of Sigmar.
Yeah.
So I feel like the design space is less open for a dwarf playstyle because their playstyle is very basic, right? It feels very much like now that's play wise. Like design wise, there's no old school dwarves anywhere, so there's plenty of model design space there.
They don't have a Daughters of Cain equivalent.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, their closest equivalent would be like I would say like trying to convince a dark elf fanatic to play Deepkin. It'd be like trying to convince a dispossessed, bearded mounted dwarf to play KO. Exactly. You'd be like,
KO or Fire Slayers, right?
Or Fire Slayers, right? And
I feel like Fire Slayers are closer.
Because it used to be in the army, right?
Yeah.
Brett earlier says he feels like Dispossessed and Dark Elves exist only in GW, or only until GW gets around to fully fleshing out the cities range with new human models, and then they're going to go to Legends. I think you're right, and I don't even think that's why, because I think the humans part of the cities range is fleshed out. Like, it's good. You take everything else out of there, it's pretty good. Maybe they need, like, a gyrocopter equivalent, something fast that can move around and do things, but not every army's going to have that,
Yeah.
They have yeah.
Brett, I think you're right. I don't know. I don't think you were here earlier. I think you're right, and I agree with you. But I hate that. I think that Cities of Sigmar should be the multi-race faction. They shouldn't make Dispossessed their own thing. They should expand the Dispossessed inside of Cities of Sigmar, which they won't do because you're right. As Zach said, they don't have a human-only faction. But I felt like this is a missed opportunity to have a mixed-race faction.
I think one of the reasons they also don't want to do it, this may be insanely giving GW too much credit, but I also think that there's this world, kind of like happened in 6th and 7th ed, especially 6th ed, 40K, where they want to use alliances as like an addition defining component. Where they want to be able to pop out an addition and say, guess what's back, everyone? Alliances. And so, like, now you can take your KO with your cities, and you can take your Fire Slayers with your Deepkin, or whatever, right?
Right.
And when you do that, and then, like, one faction already is a collection of like, alliances, it feels maybe muddled. I don't know. Maybe not.
I mean, they don't have Stormcast, right? They don't have their Stormcast in... cities. They don't have Daughters of Cain stuff.
But that's what I'm saying. When you go to ally those things in, right? And also I don't know. I mean, I think the other issue with it, Saray, especially, is that it theoretically they've had to really give these dwarf and elf units. Quite frankly, they've had very funky rules since I've started playing Sigmar. And they kind of have to do this. And so you like, because of course, an army of dwarves, elves, and humans with well thought out rules, well thought out lore, they'd be super powerful, right? You'd take dwarves. I mean, that's already kind of what we're doing. They've just made elves not as powerful right now in the army, right? But like, if you could do all the elf bullshit and all the dwarf bullshit, and then if humans hold the line and have their cool hero here and there and have the chaff, that army's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, or you could just mix the units and say the living in the city made these people soft. Or they're sticking to these military standards, right? They're not.
Right.
You could say that they're militia. That it's all militia based. So these aren't trained warriors, right? These are elves that live in the city, but because they live in the city, they get conscripted and they have to do their militia duty.
Okay, so this guy's coming along pretty good. I'm not going to work on air. At least I might get started on the pilot himself. He needs work.
I mean, think about how awesome it would be if they had all right, steel helms and stuff like that. They're all. This is like a militia unit, right? And it's a mixed unit. It should be a mixed unit. It'd be elves and humans and dwarves. And it's like, because they're not trained, they all hit on fours, whatever.
Do you really want to see an elf in that steel helm armor hitting on fours?
Yes, I think that would be. Yes, I think that would be good.
Heresy,
interesting.
Heresy. I don't.
But then you have.
I don't want to see that.
But then you have a badass, elite, great weapons unit, and it's got an elf who's maybe leaning more into the high elf stuff, and a dwarf who's I've got some. This is some real dwarven armor, and they're all still working together.
Yeah. I can't imagine a dwarf. I can't imagine, especially an elf dressed like a steel helm. Only to infiltrate the human camp and then
Listen, give an elf a gun.
Now I do want to see elves with guns, but that's just because we're Americans. I do
elves with guns in a steel helmet.
I do want to see an elf with a gun somewhere sometime. I think it would be Lumineth with like a long abacus. Not abacus.
Yeah.
Or what is it? Abacus is the math.
That's how you count. Arbiquicer.
Whatever. Like the long fancy gun. I want to see a unit of them with the pole and everything. Yeah. Dwarves. Should we talk about our second round of dwarves?
Yeah. Now these are the more important. This is the more important dwarf section.
So one of the things we discussed earlier, if you missed it, who does it better, City Dwarves or KO edition? Oh, sorry. Now your camera here is also just. It's no longer your face.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Why is it doing that?
I can fix that because we're gonna want to see Cire's reactions during this.
Fix it.
It's easy. It's easy to fix. I can do it. Okay, so we wanted to go through and do a second round of dwarves.
Yeah, dwarves versus dwarves.
The first round of dwarves was City Dwarves versus KO. Ready? It's going to suddenly change.
Ah!
Yeah. The second round, we thought we would be... we would leave the IP of the Mortal Realms in Age of Sigmar and would go to Thorin Oakenshield and his company versus the Snow White Seven Dwarves. Okay, but
Truly
what we want to do...
Clash of the Titans.
Clash of the Titans. What we want to do here is have mostly the same questions. Okay?
Yes.
So are we ready?
Yes.
Question 1, you'll recall, was a race around the world. And again, to specify, we're using the word race here to describe a sporting competition, not. Yeah.
All right. I don't know if the Seven Dwarfs have ever left their home.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're already at a disadvantage. They don't have gold lust though, and they're not stupid enough to fight a dragon, so they might actually make it to the end of the world.
Yeah, but they're so... I mean, they're basically all named after an incompetence of them.
Well, none of them is named Slow E or whatever.
I was gonna say none of her name's Stupid, but I mean this is literally Dopey. Yeah, I think it's interesting because Thorne and his company, with the right motivation, I think could do it.
Yeah.
But they also had a lot of help. Um, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't always easy. You watch the
No.
Hobbit trilogy. It wasn't always easy.
No.
So that said, I think the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I think the Seven Dwarfs are just fucking dumb.
Yeah,
What do we?
you're probably right.
Who do we? Which is going to, quite frankly, color a lot of these competitions.
However,
Yeah.
which ones died at the end of their movie?
I don't. How many of the Seven Dwarfs die?
0.
That's really.
Yeah. So clearly not that stupid.
Yeah, 3 of Thorin Oakenshield and his company die.
All right. Well, I don't know.
Next, crafting the ultimate weapon. Okay, so we saw dwarf ingenuity and teamwork in play in the Hobbit trilogy. They do their best against Smaug in the Desolation of Smaug. They cover him in gold. He doesn't seem to like that, but it also doesn't stop him. Smaug is ultimately defeated by a human with a fairly simple human weapon.
Yes, basically a gun.
A gun.
A medieval gun. I think it was a spear.
The Black Arrow, right. Meanwhile, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Actually, it's been a minute since I've seen Snow White. What do they do?
I don't think they make any guns.
Yeah.
They dig for mines. They dig for diamonds, I think, or gems, jewels.
Right. Now, Broken Chef points out that the Seven Dwarfs made a casket that stopped time to encase Snow White.
Dear God. They clear then, in that case. They're going to win if they can do that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think... Yeah, I don't know. Also, is that... Why am I confusing... Oh, I guess this also happens in Sleeping Beauty, but a little different. She eats the apple. Okay. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I give this to the Snow White dwarves.
Dude, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, they're taking this one. They can stop time with the thing they engineered. So
they're also Disney. I could see them having some taking Dopey's or Sneezy's blood and turning it into a weapon to make everyone sneeze or something. I could see them doing some bullshit.
Yeah, chemical, biological warfare.
All right, now things get a little more complicated. I think actually this is a challenge. Who handles NASCAR Uncle better at Thanksgiving?
I guess it determines how you determine handle. Because Thorne would probably just kill somebody if he didn't like him.
Yeah, well, dwarves by their nature are kind of like we already said last time. We came to the conclusion that the dwarves would actually be tripping over themselves to impress NASCAR Uncle.
Yeah,
I don't think that would happen here. I don't think Thorin would be impressed. The number of times Thorin starts a line with "Do not speak to me of blah blah blah" in the trilogy. I think NASCAR
Dale
Uncle
Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah, I think NASCAR Uncle. Right, NASCAR Uncle would say something about trans people or something, and Thorin would just be like, "I don't care about that. My gold has been stolen from me in my homeland, and my people scattered."
It's like,
and NASCAR Uncle would be like, "Oh yeah, that is a little bit of a bigger problem than me being uncomfortable with people being different than me."
Would NASCAR Uncle admit that?
Maybe not. I think we probably need to know more about NASCAR Uncle to fully have this conversation.
I feel like I feel like we're typecasting NASCAR Uncle.
We're typecasting everyone.
That's also true. You know what? We're just resorting to stereotypes today. I'm sure never mind. Did people get mad at NASCAR because it was woke apparently now. I don't think NASCAR Uncle talks about NASCAR.
Oh yeah,
anymore.
NASCAR Uncle probably doesn't talk about NASCAR anymore. Meanwhile, I have to say the seven dwarfs from Snow White and the seven dwarfs, just in general at Thanksgiving would probably be super annoying. Again, one of them can't stop sneezing. That right away, like I don't want them over. Right?
Can you
like,
stop sneezing at the food? Oh, you know what? The Hobbit dwarves are probably gonna clear it because they make good food and they could just go into the kitchen, which is what every normal person does when they need to get away. I'm gonna go help in the kitchen. Bye.
That's what I do. Okay.
Goodbye.
Moving on. This is our final one. Who does it better? Hobby Collab Mandrill and YouTube user Polychrome's mother. Now we changed this one. It was previously MLM, but we want to just drop this here. We don't actually have to talk about it. Polly knows the war he started with Cire in our Discord, and so he can think about this one on his own when he does a rewatch, and we can go from there. Cire, how's your thing coming along?
It's all right. It's going good.
Oh, this looks great.
Here's the balloon parts. Oh wait, that's not on.
It was on, and then you.
Yeah, then I left it.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. All right, let's show what it'll look like when it's on. Oh. All right, I grab that. These don't go on super easy, but this is generally what we're looking at. Yeah, well, I don't have glue on hand, so.
I kind of love
like
the Gunhauler. Yeah.
Right, that. And then.
Ooh, drill gun.
Oh yeah, that's the drill gun. All right, let's just do the whole setup, huh?
Oh, this looks great.
That's the wrong one. Where's the top to this?
That is a really cool way to weather with sand.
Yeah, there you go. And then this is generally what it's going to look like. All right, we're going to have to zoom all the way out, huh? There we go. This is, I can't get it all in the shot. Here, I'll actually go to the front cam. There we go. I'm going to drop this thing. All right. And then a close-up. Still got to glue it, and then we'll be done. Are you there, Zach?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I was just looking at it. Here, I'll show kind of.
I was like, it got really quiet.
Should I pull Cire and be like, here's where I'm at?
I'm off to start the race and win the win.
Yeah. So I need to do basically the cockpit.
The what?
The cockpit.
The what?
The other thing I might do is add some decals, but I'm not sure where because it has these ruins. I may paint the ruins red. I'm not sure. I went over them with or kind of like did a wash around them, but it didn't really show up too well. So I might paint them red. I'm not sure. Or I might paint them white. I don't know. But this is a cute little kit. I love it. I love my little old school Tau interceptor drone stand. You can pose them. You can be like this. You can be like this. You can be taking off. Yeah. You can be crashing into the ground.
That's where he'll be.
It's like a toy.
Most of the time.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I love this thing. I love the helicopter. I love the blades. The bomber doesn't have you add the second set of blades too. The bomber just has the one set.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Cire, are you ready?
I'm ready.
For two things. One.
No, I'm not ready for two things. I'm ready for one thing.
We're going to talk about a reminder for a monthly challenge. You guys who've been here for a while know the deal. If you're new, please join our Discord. And we are running a competition called Crowing for It, where users are submitting hobby progress over the course of a month based on a theme. And we'll get to that in a second. And what the prize is, what's kind of fun. This is our moderator, Soups. He's here in chat right now. Super Reedy. He's a humongous supporter of the channel. And not just supporter, but part of the channel, quite honestly. And Soups basically is painting a Castle and Crow mini. He's painting like by section, 12 different sections. And so that is the prize. If you win for a month, you get to tell him how you would like him to paint a particular section of the model. Now, this week's, we'll go through the rules here real quick. You want to use this hashtag in our Discord, crowing for it. If you haven't joined our Discord, by the way, join our Discord. The link is right below this channel. It's super fun. And in all honesty, it's a nice Discord. People are cool to each other there. We did hit 500 users, and we're still not gross and toxic yet. Help us get there by joining, though, as soon as you can. So, here are all the prizes. I usually send out a physical prize, too, if you would like to share an address with me. Last but not least, let's talk about the theme. This month has a theme. Every month has a theme. This month's spooky, because it's October, Halloween. There it is. If you have questions about it, ask one of the mods in our Discord. But otherwise, let's bring Cire back here.
Oh,
Cire,
hello.
We're back. Okay, ready?
Hello.
You ready? You ready for some fans?
Yeah.
Okay, starting off with this from Zacharias. Pretty amazing.
Super nice.
Yeah.
I realized something. I'm in Zacharias. Zacharias has his own Discord, and I'm in it. I didn't recognize this. Yes.
Oh, nice.
Super cool. Very nice.
You know what I think
I
my
love
favorite part?
Tragos. What's that?
Yeah. You know what I think my favorite part of this model is? That he did really well is the crystal.
Oh, yeah. The crystal's great. I really like the face, the little bits of pink integrated into it. I mean, the whole thing's amazing. It's very well painted.
Yeah.
Great job.
Yeah, it's really amazing. I'd kind of like to see if he's done Fellwaters.
Yeah.
Moving on.
I think this was the first thing it painted. At least that's from what I had seen.
Okay, this is Chef. Now, I took a picture of the back of this Rat Ogre because I kind of like the sores he had going on here. But he has a few pictures of this up in the Discord. This was actually also the best photo. He has one of like 3, but it was like a long photo. So I found this to be probably the photo that I like the best. But I really love the way it shows the like pox thingies on its back.
Yeah, and the fur's looking great too.
There's something about painting Skaven skin like human-y looking that makes it extra unsettling.
I want it like because it looks like human skin.
Right, I want it like gray or like white as in like albino. Like I want it like an unnatural color, like human adjacent, but not like so human-y looking.
I'm all for gross human skin.
I know. It looks great. It looks amazing. Soups, speaking of.
Oh, hey.
Land Raider.
Crusader.
Yeah, I think.
Where's your flamers, brother?
I know. I think he's been talking about this thing for a while. Soups, how many Land Raiders do you have for Blood Angels? Is this the only one? No, there's a black one too, right?
I thought so. Or was that was that a Land Raider?
I can't just this one. I can't tell. Actually, excuse me. On first glance, I can't always like spot the difference between almost like a more modern Primaris tank and a Land Raider.
You don't know the difference?
I know the difference, but like the Primaris tanks like are starting to look like Land Raiders a little bit, right?
I mean, that's what the repulsors are. They're the floating version of the Land Raiders with a turret, basically, essentially.
Right? Yeah. Nice work as always, Soups. As always.
Yes, nice Soups. Soups saying this is his only Land Raider, by the way.
Okay, this is Tactical Sin. Now, the guy on the far right we've seen before on Sunday, but this is like an Inquisitorial henchman thing he's got going here.
Yeah, this is so awesome.
Rest of the crew. I like what's going on with this guy on the left. I like his, like the coloring going on is very nice. Like, well, the picture's dark, right? But I like this guy coming out of the shadows. And you see his face is like,
he's like
ruddy and red, ruddy face, skin tone, and red beard. And he's got a Necron gun, yeah?
Yeah. It looks like it.
Yeah, I think it's a Necron gun, which is super cool. Very thematic.
All right.
Very
What's
nice.
next?
Very nice.
Oh
Who?
yeah,
Boggy? This is Boggy.
Boggy. Yeah, man,
Yeah.
super cool. Man, I love this model.
Yeah.
It feels very like retro. It reminds me of when GW releases models based on old art. I don't know if it's based on old art, but it kind of looks like it. It's super
Oh
cool
yeah.
and great color choices. Red and green doesn't look like Christmas. I'm glad someone
No.
isn't afraid to just do it.
I know.
Um,
We always talk about that. Yeah, I like the grime, especially on the red.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's so good.
Really nice. Nice work.
Nice base too.
Yeah, it is a good base. Oh, I forget who this is, but it's adorable. Here, I
Oh
have it
yeah,
right
with the
here.
big eye lens.
Yeah. This is. That was Boggy. Oh, Sad Tony.
Sad Tony.
Yeah.
This is great. I don't know what this is for. Is this
Me either.
War Machine or is it just a
No.
one-off?
Well, okay, wait, hold on. No, I don't know. I was gonna say his left shield almost looks like some stuff from the Tau, but it's not. There's rivets on it and stuff. Yeah, I don't know, but I'm guessing somebody in chat probably knows what this is from. But I doubt this is War Machine. I mean, like, War Machine's brutal. This is like an adorable little guy.
Yeah, it looks great though. Really, and good color choices too. I like the brass and blue playing
Yeah.
off each other.
Yeah. Oh, Sad Tony's local. He's in Fault Line. Okay.
Oh, cool.
Well, that's awesome. But this looks great, and I'm kind of curious where it's from now. Okay, moving on.
Moving on.
It's, super cool though. Oh, this was nice. This is a good fade. This is good airbrush wing fade.
Oh yeah, this is Boris.
It is Boris, I believe. And
Yeah.
you know the thing about the wing fade like this with an airbrush is if you get like, you know, I know people are going to say stuff like, well, listen, if you get halfway decent with an airbrush, this is not that hard to do. But it still kind of is. It's good. It's not hard to get it okay, but it's
hard
kind
to-
of hard. Yeah.
Yeah, to get it smooth like this is really nice, and even on both wings, like it just, I don't know, it looks amazing.
Right. I mean, it matches, and also look at the wings on the birds.
Yeah,
quite
yeah,
nice.
yeah, yeah, super nice.
Yeah, this looks great. I also love the sisters color scheme. This like
Oh yeah, the blue and gold, or blue and yellow.
gold and blue. It's like blue, gold, and orange.
Yeah, it's super nice.
I don't know. I almost would have like thought that if I was doing blue and gold, or blue and like this golden orangish color, I almost think I would have struggled to figure out what to make the metallic. And
Yeah.
I might have. I think gold would have been my last choice. I might have done bronze or silver, but I really like it.
This light gold is super nice.
Right.
I think it's the right choice.
Yeah. Yeah, really nice. Really nice trio there. Ooh, this is super
Dante?
good. This is
Damn, that's really nice.
Jolly Roger? No. Bond. Sorry.
Bond.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really, really nice. Too bad it's Dante.
Yeah, you hate Dante. Yeah.
No, it's really good. Also, really nice picture, by the way. Good job.
Yeah, good photo. Cool base. Cool model. I don't know. It's just great.
Looks great. Looks great.
It's just really nice.
It's just really, really nice.
It's just really nice. Okay, this was Jolly Roger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a few pictures of this on the Discord. I really liked the cape. So this is the picture
Yeah.
I took and used. But like I said, there's the whole unit, and then there's like close-ups of one guy as well. But yeah.
Yeah,
good
the
cape.
whole unit looks super good. It's all converted, or at least some of it's converted for to make them corn aligned. They're super nice. Definitely should go to the Discord just to check out those other pictures. Really, really, really nice.
Yeah, do consider joining our Discord if you have not. We love it there. We think you'll love it there. hop into a hobby hang, say hi. We won't bite. And for sure, if nothing else, I can almost guarantee you'll either have a relaxing hobby time or you'll be entertained. It goes hard one way or the other, usually. Okay, Cire, how are we doing? Did we mostly do all of our things?
Yeah, I just got to glue my stuff together and we'll be done.
Yeah.
Which I should have these ready by Saturday.
Yeah. So ideally, these things will be on stream this upcoming Saturday.
Yep.
When Brett takes Cities of Sigmar against Cire's KO. It's gonna feel like a 40K game almost. There's gonna be a lot of shooting.
Is. Yeah, exactly. Now I won't have the Thunderers, which is something we want to get done as well, but I won't have those ready. But so it might be a little bit of a weird list, but I want to at least get these on the table to see how they feel.
Yeah. Amazing.
Sweet.
Okay. I'm going to run our mandrill. Thank you, which will silence Cire. So say bye to Cire for now.
Bye.
And, a big thank you to Mandrills, everybody who is a Mandrill, and everybody, honestly, who's a member in general. Couple reminders. Yes, so we have Age of Sigmar coming up this Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. We have another hobby stream Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. That'll be similar to this one. And last but not least, this weekend we actually have Blood Bowl game on Monday at noon, and then of course our members only game for Age of Sigmar at 6 p.m. on Monday. So thank you so much for joining us, everybody. As we like to say, be kind to each other, be kind to yourselves, always be creating. Bye, folks.